There's so much gun violence in America that, tragically, over time, the stories start to blend together, and it's hard to remember the details of one differing from another, but this story right here is going to stand out. So there was a Subaru station wagon that struck a bull on a highway in Idaho, and then things got weird. The injured bull began charging emergency responders as they worked to get the driver and passenger out of the car. So that posed a threat to those emergency responders who were just trying to do their job. Jack Yantis, the bull's owner, arrived with a rifle just as deputies decided to put down the animal. There was an altercation, and Yantis and 2 deputies all fired their weapons. Yantis died at the scene, and 1 deputy suffered a minor injury. The bull also was shot and killed. So yes, they ran into the bull, which I guess is something that happens every day in Idaho, and then the guy decided that he was willing to possibly kill or die to protect Bessie. It's almost beautiful, I guess. I don't know what their life was. Maybe he raised her from a cub. I don't know. What are they? But that fact that we don't know exactly how the altercation started, but shots were fired at the police by this guy because he was worried they were going to put down his bull.
Would it be a calf? It'd be a calf.
Yeah, it's a calf.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
Why don't we have any science reporters on the Young Turks?
Look, I know it's not a cub. I'm joking. But
okay, sorry,
you actually know what it is, which is good.
Actually, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm guessing. Anyway, let's move on to the story.
I think it's a Joey, actually.
Anyway. This is insane, and I think that this serves as somewhat of an example of how your right to bear arms doesn't mean that your weapons will protect you against government tyranny. Right?
Yeah.
So this is an example of that, but I always get kind of irritated at people who say that the Second Amendment is necessary because it helps prevent like this crazy government takeover.
Yeah.
Right? Here's the thing. The government has weapons that are unmatched by anyone, okay? You can have the craziest assault rifles imaginable. You're not going to be able to fight against the government. I just want to get that point out of the way.
Yeah.
Another thing is, here's what happens when people are trigger happy and when they have weapons and they use them in an irresponsible fashion. They shoot at officials, they shoot at people they shouldn't be shooting at for reasons that they shouldn't be shooting in the first place.
Yeah.
I get it. You know, your bull got hit by a car and you are upset about it, and you want to protect your bull. But here's the thing. No one's life should be taken as a result of protecting a bull.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. I don't even know what else to say about this. This is such a crazy story.
Now, I know that we sometimes worry that like we're having the same discussion about the same stories every 6 months, but you've never said that sentence before on the show. No lives should be taken so you can save the life of your bull. Maybe it'll come back. I don't know. It sounds like I'm talking about Australia. For some reason, I imagine it happening there.
This is bullshit.
It's total bullshit.
Yeah.
Now, look, devil's advocate. There's some chance that this is an example of government overreach in the same way that when they storm into a house because of drugs and they throw a flashbang into a crib and the baby goes blind. Maybe it's something like that. Maybe it's like when they kick down the door and they see the Datsun, so they light into it with a flamethrower. Maybe it's like that. Maybe he actually was going to be able to control the bull, and the cops were feeling trigger happy. They were pissed because the bull was looking at him wrong or something. And so they started to shoot at it, and so he went crazy. I still think don't shoot at cops over your bull. If my dog was shot, I would lose my shit. I wouldn't murder cops over it.
You actually make a really great point because I didn't even consider that scenario. It is possible that this rancher shows up because he doesn't know who these people are, right? Mm-hmm. And he's with his gun, and before he even shoots or anything, the deputies or whatever, are they deputies? What are they? They're from the Adams County Sheriff's deputies. Yeah, so he knew they were cops. I don't think that he...
No, he knew they were cops, yeah. We don't know exactly if he started the violence or if they started the violence. So we're trying to be open-minded here to the possibility that this is like other cases. But I mean, the thing is, on the opposite side, if he is kind of a gun nut who decided, you know what, like... why can't I remember?
Clive and
Bundy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the government, no, I'm the government on my property, and I, for some reason, don't feel the need to pen up my bull. I just let it go wild, which isn't a metaphor in this case. And then the government comes, and I don't need to listen to them. If I have a gun, I am an elderly white person. I can do what I want. And he's, by the way, he's not going to be described as a thug. So one of the people in the area said this is going to be a big hit to the community. The gentleman involved, Mr. Yantis, was a well-known cattle rancher around here. It's just a sad deal for everybody involved, for the whole community, which was only 800 people. And so it is going to be a massive blow that this guy dies in a shootout with the police. But what isn't going to be said is what would have been said if it had been a dog instead of a bull, and if he had been investigated for drugs or something and he'd been black. That would have been totally different. But for some reason, it's a very different thing when patriotic older white people fight back against the government.
Right.
And look,
Well,
I'm white, but I have no interest in using this particular bit of privilege.
Well, I mean, he is a martyr for the Second Amendment and bulls throughout the country.